everybody. Welcome to Trans Gurus. And we're back with another episode. We're going to talk about our beautiful experiences that we've had and even created in our life as trans individuals. And who would like to go first?
I go first.
Go ahead, Bonnie.
Just to name a couple, I'm going to name kind of in order. First of all, my breasts. They probably bring me the most joy, okay? Let's be realistic. Second of all, when I had my SRS surgery, that was pretty cool. And the third one that was really cool for me, my parents didn't accept me, but they were going to put my father in a home. And he called me up and he told me I needed to come back. He needed me, but he didn't put any kind of things. So I came back as my authentic self. And I used to love to watch him twitch when people said, "Oh, that's your daughter?" And my dad would just, Anyway, those are three things that I can think of.
Wow. And they are very valuable too. I have to say, lately I've been having a hell of a lot of daily beautiful experiences, and that is with Transgurus, because I answer quite a lot of Transgurus mails, and some people are really happy about what we do, and we put the posts for them and everything. So for me, that is a beautiful experience. Yeah, I mean, being a transgender, I had wonderful experience. I cannot complain about anything, except that throughout my transition, I've always had beautiful experiences. Breasts included, and SRS included. I did it in Thailand, and I was there for a couple of weeks. I tell you, believe me, it was really quite nice. Met new people, met a hell of a lot of other trans girls like me that, just went through their SRS. My doctor makes about one vagina a day. So we were at about a group of about 12 girls, which were all coming together and talking about our experiences and talking about things. One was from Australia, the other one was from England, the other one was from Europe. There was an Indian girl, there was a girl from Dubai, there was from all over the place. But it was really quite interesting. But there are other types of experiences. One of my most beautiful experiences was the first time that a guy, looked to me as a girl and treated me like a girl. And he was so gallant and precious. And I felt so special. And it made me feel so good, everything made me feel so good. I remember in the restaurant, he was touching my leg and I was going, The small things, not, opening the door of the car and stuff like that. I mean, it was a new experience for me. It was beautiful. I just loved it. And every time that, I experience nice people, it's always something fantastic. But I'm sure my colleagues have got things to say.
Well, I got to be honest. I'm sitting here and, when you say beautiful experiences, like I was here and you all were talking, Bonnie and you, Ella, and I'm like, what can I say? What can I say? And I'm just being honest. There's so many blessings that, I can count in my life, but in the moment, I was racking my brain to try and think of something that really stands out for me. And there's so many things, I know there are, but just trying to pinpoint. One of the things I would say for me that really, I love when it happens is serendipity. And, or when it's a kismic moment and it just seems like everything is flowing and you could be in a situation and all of a sudden first of all, you don't know how you're going to get out of it and what you're going to do. And then boom, like the solution appears. And it's like one, like bop, bop, bop. It flows so nicely. And I've had many of those experiences. I remember I had to leave from where I was, my last apartment. And I was like, oh my God, like I couldn't find a place. And it was coming down to like the wire. And I remember sitting in my room on my bed and I was just like, universe, God, universe, I need a place to live. And I need a place that's going to be like, it was like serious. And I'm having a conversation just like with myself, with the universe and God. And I'm like, please, like, come on, make something come through. Because it wasn't like I wasn't trying. And in the morning, first thing, the realtor called me and says, I think I got the perfect place for you. And this was like at like 8:30 in the morning. And I had gone through that the night before I was going to bed. I was just like I just humbled myself and like, just almost like humbled myself before the universe. And I was like, I need help. Like, I don't know what more to do. Like, I need help. And this is serious because I got to get out. And so, boom, in the morning, 8:30, I got a place for you. We can go look at it. Can you be ready in an hour or two? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I got myself together. I met him. It was the perfect place for me. And it just flowed. After that, I got the place within a matter of a couple days. Mm-hmm. So I love when things happen like that because, let's face it. Sometimes we go around like we do have all the answers, but, and when things are in order, in our life and like everything is like kind of flowing in an order, and then something comes out of left field and kind of knocks you down. It's like sometimes you're just like there and you're hoping for that magical moment, magical, kismet, serendipity, whatever you want to call it. But that moment where you're blessed and things just flow. So I would say that's something that I would think is like a special moment for me, but I've seen it all through my life in different situations.
Beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah. That when you were saying that, Raji, it kind of made me think of like, I don't know what the definition of serendipity is, but it made me think of like a divinely orchestrated occurrence or a moment, like
that's exactly what it is, basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Serendipity can be explained in many different ways, but it's kind of like you haven't seen someone in a long time, and all of a sudden you're at somewhere where you wouldn't even think you'd bump into them, and you bump into them. And then this person has an opportunity that they were trying to think who was the perfect person for it. And they say, oh my God, I think you're the one for this. That's like what would be considered serendipity. Well, that's an example of it.
Yeah. Kind of a divine movement.
Divine order, divine favor, divine favor.
Dan, and you look all serious there.
No, there's a term used to describe what y'all are talking about. It's the Chinese philosophy of Taoism. And that being serendipitous, when we are in flow with all things, which is the principle of Taoism, things seem to magically fall into place. And there's no coincidences. Serendipity is a synonym for coincidence. A coincidence is the term used for someone who just doesn't believe in the power of intention or the power of thought. Serendipity takes it a step further. It's more of a spiritual term or a new age term that explains how when our body, body, and spirit are in flow with all things, the interaction we have with others occurs almost magically, seemingly without effort. And we have touched on this in previous videos, but we're talking tonight about beautiful experiences. And I think for me, it's the culmination of many, 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 many things that have been in the works for many, many, many years, culminating all to like right now. And there's many things, the thousands of hours in the gym, the thousands of hours of meditation, the thousands of hours of counseling, self-help, positive thinking, spiritual practice, meditation, and all these things are culminating continuously, coming together moment by moment in my life. And these experiences are part of this whole process that I'm talking about. It's like the rosebud blossoming as a flower, or the caterpillar becoming a butterfly. There's not one specific instance that I can share with you all, but it's the whole experience. And in my own particular journey, I've worked so hard and I've been so persistent. That's another word that I think is important that all people incorporate. Not only is it direction in our life, but a persistent pursuit. And we will get there. And when we get there, the pursuit will take us yet to another destination, and then another destination. And then when we climb to the top of one mountain, we look and we find another one. And we climb that one, and then we see another mountain, and then we climb that one. So it's that constant pursuit of life that gives us drive and vision and direction. And that's, to me, that provides fulfillment in my life. And I think that's the beauty of life, is that the deeper we're able to experience life, the more layers, the deeper the feelings, and the essence of life is just amplified. And so my journey, and as I look at myself in the mirror and the human that I'm becoming, it's like a holy shit factor, in that it's amazing that the human mind, if we can think it, if we can conceive it, we can do it. And all of us here today are proof of that. And I think that's the beauty of my story. Christian.
I was just going to say 1 second before, Christian, you start. For people that are listening, you hear us talking about how good all these things are. But when you're first starting out, yes, it can be very, very difficult. And what you're seeing in this video is us past that difficult point. And like Shannon was saying, if you persevere, this is what happens. And I know this amongst, I don't know, I'm not saying that it couldn't happen, but I don't know anybody that's transitioned, that's living their authentic self, that is not elated. And the only reason I bring that up, some people can sit here and listen, oh, look at how easy and how fun it is. And this, if you're just starting out, yes, it can be very difficult, but hang in there and look what you got to look forward to.
Let me expand on that, please. And I'm going to use an example. And I may have used this example during one of our first videos. Many, 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 many years ago, my daughter had a horse that had a baby horse. And I think it's called when a mom horse has a baby horse, it's called a filly. And we all witnessed the birth of this baby horse. And when the baby horse was born, it has these long legs that are disproportionately long to the size of the body of the horse. And this baby horse is awkward. It's stumbling around on its own feet, but it's walking. It's staying up, and it's trying to nurse with the mom. And the horse is like awkward. It's stumbling over its own feet, and it's awkward. But now to this day, that same horse is a champion dressage horse. So it's same with all things in life. I know that when I first got my boobs, when I first was going to the gym with my boobs, yeah, it was awkward and shit. Now I walk into the gym, I own that gym because I own myself. And you have to go, all of us, we spoke about this, I think, a couple videos ago. You got to go through the jungle.
Yes.
Self-mastery is on the other side of the jungle. So you just have to persevere, as Bonnie was saying, Christian.
Oh, I so relate to that. Yeah, that's a great visual, Shannon, going through the jungle. It's like, how are we going to lead anybody through that jungle if we don't master it ourselves?
Yeah.
You know?
And we're using our own internal compass as a guide.
And everybody is different, and everybody's guide is different. Everybody's journey is different. You just got to find what works for you. And that's some of the hard part. But once you figure it out, then life gets so much better.
And what I was going to say too is use the beautiful moments or the beautiful things as a tool to catapult yourself, because as you're going through the jungle, you can enjoy the journey. Like there's life to me, and our existence is not about the destination. It's about the journey along the way. And, being determined is important. Having that focus and knowing what you want is important, and doing the work to get it is important. But I think you all can relate to, you've done the hard work. Well, you know what it is you want. You have the determination, the focus, the perseverance. And then there's that moment where you let go and let the magic happen. And that's happened for me a lot of times, where I put the work in for whatever it was that I was desiring or trying to manifest. And then there was the point where I was like, okay, I did good. Now let the magic begin and let it manifest. Because sometimes we put our own limitations on the way something is supposed to manifest. I said, enjoying the journey along the way. Listen, it was no walk in the park for me. I remember one particular time, this was in the beginning of my transition. I had gone out, I went to a store, came out, there were guys outside, and they were really mean. They were calling me all sorts of nasty names, and, like freak and what the F is that? And all kind of horrible names. And, they say names, sticks and stones will break your bones, and names won't ever hurt you. But that's not true. Names, words are powerful, and they can be hurtful. And I remember feeling like just giving up, right? Like I didn't have a place. And the most beautiful thing happened to me. I had a outer body experience when I got home, and I was crying in my bed and ready to give up. And it was the most beautiful experience. And I know it wasn't a dream, because I dream all the time. It was different than a dream. And, I actually left my body and I went to the outer realms, and I was looking back at the planet, and I saw the stars, and it was so beautiful. And I needed that. Call it what you want. If you want to call it a vision, an out-of-body experience, a vivid dream, whatever you want to call it, so be it. But for me, I knew it was the thing that I needed the most at that moment to be able to have the encouragement to keep going. So it was the beautiful thing at that moment that I needed from the universe to encourage me to keep going.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Beautiful story.
Come on, Christian. We normally can't shut you up.
All right, well.
Motor mouth.
All right.
What, Christian, you don't like my blonde hair? What's the problem?
But you're beautiful today, Raj.
Oh, Raj.
No, I like it.
You stole my breath away. So
I'm breathtakingly beautiful that you're speechless, right?
You're always breathtakingly beautiful, Raj.
Thank you.
Everybody on this show is, but that hair, Raji, I don't know. There's just something about it.
Oh, see, boy, I tell you, Christian, you know how to get a girl all flustered. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're making me flustered. But everybody that's talking tonight, what kept coming to my mind is, I read this book, and it's by a man named Dr. Viktor Frankl, and it's called A Man's Search of Meaning. And it's basically about the Holocaust situation, and this man, he's a psychologist, and he was in the internment camps, the concentration camps, and he had to suffer through the worst kind of conditions that you could ever even imagine. And eating, when they ever did give meals out, had to eat with bugs that were inside of their food, and there was months on end they didn't get to see any sunlight, and if there was a crack in the wall, he said that it was one of the best days that he got to experience, because he got to feel what it was like to be outside through a little hole in the wall where he felt the wind kind of coming in, and he said that those type of moments were like nuggets of motivation, to keep moving forward, that the reality that he was experiencing in that moment in the Holocaust, it was fabricated. It was a temporary situation. It wasn't the end all be all of life, that there was other parts of life, there was life was all around him, and he just had to suffer through that moment. And he said that it was beautiful, that he said that every time he could, he started searching for meaningful moments, for things that he can find and take in his memory banks and kind of dwell on it. And that helped him get through all the treachery that he had to go through. And so I say that to say that I relate with it, because in my life, I don't know if it's because I'm a man or whatever. I like to overcome my fears. I like when I notice the pattern in my life that I feel is the most beautiful, the things I cherish the most, the experiences that I've had that bring me the most joy are when I've had like a limitation that I thought was going to prohibit me from achieving something, or, maybe I thought there was something wrong with myself. Like, the first joyous thing that I can imagine was, in regards to being trans, was when I admitted it to myself and I decided to truly embrace it. And, I thought it was a joyous, even though it was a really scary moment when I told my parents. I was, scared shitless regardless, but I still kind of was like scared with a smile, and I overcame, that, like they're the authority, they're the, my parents, they raised me, and I'm supposed to do life the way that they want. And, in a way I was rebellious, and I decided to follow what was going to make me feel fulfilled in my life, not just try to go with the status quo and what society told me what to do. I went against everything that I was basically taught, and that takes a lot of balls, or for the women, it takes a lot of tits. And I can go on for 1,000 things that I've over.
I thought you were going to tell us how when you grew your first whiskers, you got excited.
Oh, I got really excited when I started growing my whiskers. And I still get excited. I look in the mirror every day and I'm like, 1, 2, 3, those are new. I'm always like talking to them like a little plant, oh, there you go. Like, come on, get nice and strong. I ate my vegetables and hydrate and go to sleep on time so I can encourage all my hair growth. I do my routine. Yeah, I'm in love with my facial hair. I'm in love with every single part of myself, you know, and that took a long time. That took you know, intentional effort at first, because it was a little difficult to do those things, to totally fall in love with myself and have self-respect and everything. But you know what, you know, that was even a beautiful moment too, when I realized that I really love myself and I'm able to put boundaries out there and not let people tell me how to live my life. And I felt that was beautiful, because that was something I struggled with when I was younger. And I was always trying to people please, because I didn't have a strong base or foundation of who Christian was. I didn't even know my name before, you know, and I just was somebody that was kind of lost and just going around and bobbling around. I was like what Zig Ziglar says, you know, are you a, or was it Brian Tracy, you know, people I listen to that are mentors, but you know, he said, are you a wandering generality? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, a wandering generality or a meaningful specific.
A meaningful specific.
Love it.
And I was, you know, I think everybody in their life has to feel what it feels like to be a wandering generality at some point, because, you know, if you don't overcome that part of the jungle, well, how the hell are you going to lead other people through it into a meaningful specific? So, you know, I kept gaining ground and gaining things. I love that feeling that comes with it. You know, I overcame it. You know, the first time I had to go on a doctor's appointment to get HRT, I had to get up at like 4 a.m. I didn't have a car. My parents took it from me. So I had to run to the bus station, you know, and I had to take a bus, and it took me it was a 3-hour drive there, a 3-hour drive back. So I was up all day long, exhausted, thought I was going to get my stuff stolen on the bus, thought I was going to get my ass kicked, you know, on the bus, going somewhere I had no idea where I was going, you know, going through all the different types of projects to get to this one appointment, you know, and then I get there, I was completely drenched in sweat and I sat in my sweat for 3 hours on the bus. I had to run there, you know, and you know, you could say, oh, you know, it's the, you know, what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. Damn right. I had to do that. I had to do what I had to do. And I had a smile on my face the entire time going there. You know, it was December in New Jersey. So it was freezing outside, you know, and I'm drenched in sweat, and then you know, it's freezing outside, and I get in on that bus, and I was so excited to get to my appointment. I think I was the most enthusiastic patient my doctor had that day. And when I was able to start HRT, it felt like a huge ton of bricks just was able to kind of melt away off of my mind, off of my soul, off of my shoulders, everything. And I breathed lighter. I felt lighter. I felt like I was able to step more into myself. I came out to my school, and I was shaking with this. We had a talent show, and I was shaking with this poem that I wrote. And it was basically a poem that, you know, with the way I wrote it, it spoke about my life a little bit and the things I was going through. And then I outed myself to my entire college. And it was the first time anybody ever did that in my college. I was shaking like a leaf, but it felt so fucking good to do that.
But let me ask you a question. You're talking about some really, really hard times, but even though they were really hard while you were going through them, now that you look back on them and you remember them, do you remember them as maybe being badass, maybe?
Momentous.
Whereas back then it sucked?
Oh, you know, even when it in the, you know, because I've even when I was going through those moments and they sucked, even when I would cry myself to sleep, even when, and that was probably for like a year straight, I got over that, you know, even when I was dealing with a lot of hell from home and all these things, I still found so much joy in my fucked up haircut the very first time that I got it done. And I still found joy when people would when I was with my parents and they'd be like, oh, what does your son need? And my mom would be like, and she would be like, you said, Bonnie, like when your dad would twitch, my parents would twitch. And I found I was like a little kid in the candy shop, like, yes, yes, yes. Like I was so happy that they did, And I would try to hurry up and get out of the room before my mom could correct them, so I could save myself the embarrassment. And just, all those moments, it didn't feel comfortable. Yeah. When I go to the bathroom to this day, still, it's not every single thing of my jungle is completely mastered. I still have the machete hacking away at shit. I'm still doing it. I'm still, flexing my muscles sometimes. And sometimes certain situations I got to really bear down and hunker down my mind. All the things I've done my whole life, and all the mentors I listen to, all the positive stuff I listen to, all of you guys on here. I listen. I have a lot of lessons from you all, and a lot of other trans people I listen to. I got a lot of lessons from them. Like how Jimmy, like Shannon said, life experiences are like a culmination of all these different beautiful things in the works. The therapy I've gone through, the nonstop persistence. I never gave up. Even when days were really terrible. And, in the very initial beginning of my transition, maybe I considered, I wish I wasn't living. I wish I didn't have to be here. I wish I didn't have to deal with this shit. Who the fuck wants?
It changes as you hang. As longer you stay in there, the better it gets. Correct?
Yeah, and the longer I stayed in the game, those thoughts started to dissipate, and before I knew it, I don't think like that no more. And now, when things are hard, I have so many tools in my belt, that my utility that I can use that'll help me get through those moments. And I've developed such a network of people that if I ever really am struggling, I can lean on all y'all. I can lean on all my friends. I can lean on my family for support, and everything's beautiful. Everything. You can find something beautiful in every single thing. I can go on for days about, but I think I find it more fulfilling for me, more of a beautiful moment for me when there's something out there I thought I couldn't do, and I come out and I shock myself. I come out and I just say, I'm going to take it day by day. I'm going to get closer to my goal every little step of the way. I'm going to do what I fucking can to do the best for me, and not live it for everybody else, but for me. I'm going to do it for me. And when I started really loving myself, I really started respecting myself. I really started having confidence in what I said and what I believed. And then, it's crazy thing happened. People started believing me, and they started saying, wow, you actually mean what you say. You say what you mean. You do what you want. And I respect that, Christian. I really respect that. I watch you do. And I said, wow, thank you. I really appreciate, you recognizing that, but it's not done for recognition. Never done for recognition. It's not done for other people. It's done for me. Everything I do and go through, and all these beautiful moments, I'm doing it. And the service part of it, the service component of it, that's beautiful too, where it helps other people. But we can never lead anyone through that rainforest, that jungle, unless we lead ourselves first and master ourselves first. And I think that's one of the most, beautiful things that I can say is that I've really accepted myself and for everything, every part.
Well, when you saying all that, I just want to add in that, with trans gurus, and like Ella does so much. I mean, she should get some kind of a pin if we had one. Anyway, she answers back people that send in messages, and she really makes a difference in people's lives. That's a good feeling. I mean, some people can stroke a check to something, but when you put yourself, your own time, your own effort, your own energies into something, it can be so rewarding. It's powerful. It's very, very powerful if you acknowledge it. I don't know.
For me, the best payment is when someone says, thank you, you helped me. And that, I don't have anything else. Just thank you. It's it moves.
We should one day put up and scroll all the nice things that people have said. I don't know. I just thought.
I don't count them anymore, but it's.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if we had a website, we could do that and put it on our website. But we don't have a website, so somebody out there wants to help us with a website. Give us a holler.
Yeah, but I have to tell you something. I mean, it's really incredible because there's such a lot of people coming to us which are just in the beginning of their transitions. And they have this feeling, but they don't know what to do. And this is where to put them in, many things I cannot do for them, but one thing I can do, I can tell, look, go here. You find some people which are near you and can support you, or go there. And this is so important for them because it's the beginning. So very often it's the beginning. Some of them are, not so in the beginning. They are much more further down, and they want to show their experiences. And lately, many of them actually have sent some experiences, some stories. It was really nice, actually. One girl is sending poems, which is really beautiful. But we all go through that, and we are a sisterhood and brotherhood, and we have to help each other because we've got many people which are against us. And
we're going to put a post up next week. I just thought about it. And we're going to ask people to share what the topic is here, share what some moments, good moments of your transition, and we'll let people write in. Last time we did something like that, we had over 200 people responded.
Wow.
Yeah, so people can read it and see. It's not just us talking. They get to hear everybody else's views from out there in the world. And sometimes if they can take a little bit from this one or that one, or make a difference in somebody's life, or change their perspective on whatever, it's like this. I thank the universe every day that I'm trans, because if I wasn't trans, I would have missed out on so much in life that I've been able to experience. And it's all about perspective. Yeah, I could say a lot of things suck. A lot of things could be, but I don't have regrets. And hopefully other people don't either. You got to live every day like it's your last and enjoy it, because tomorrow is not promised.
Yeah. Listening to you three, it made me think of, how you were talking about, we all need encouragement along the way and someone to kind of help. And even we do that for people that are watching us around the world. But it was interesting. I had completely forgot about this experience I had. And I think, Christian, when you were talking about the guy in the concentration camp and it was a horrific situation, but there were blessings, little tiny bits of glimmers of love and light to help him get through. So I was a kid. I was probably 11 years old, and where I lived in Philly, there was a main avenue called Wadsworth Avenue. And my mom would let me go up after school to get a slice of pizza and a soda at the pizza shop. So I always look forward to that because I love pizza. I still do. Can't you all tell? No.
That's the next date we're going on, Raji, of pizza.
Oh, yay! So I was at the time, I was, and I don't know if I told you all the story sounds familiar, but anyway, I'm in the moment. So at the time, I had lost, no, you know what it was? I wasn't losing my hats and gloves. People were bullying me in school and they were taking them, but I was lying to my mom because I didn't want her to know that I was being bullied. And so I was saying that I lost them. So she thought I was being absent-minded. And so after I had my pizza, I did leave my hat on the table and I walked about a half block down, and I remembered, I said, oh crap, my hat. So I ran back to the pizza shop and I go in, and it's these group of older teenage guys. They were sitting at the table and the one guy was holding my hat, and I walked up and I was like, oh, that's my hat. And he's like, oh, here. And he like was like gonna hand it to me. When I went to reach it, he pulled it back. And then they got up and they started like throwing the hat. Like I was like trying in the middle, and they were like throwing it like back and forth. And it ended up, they went outside. We were in the middle of the avenue. They were surrounding me, and they started like pushing on me and calling me names and everything. And out of the blue, this guy showed up. He was a grown man. So these kids that were picking on me were probably like 17, like 16, 17, 18. I was like 11. The man was probably like 25. He showed up out of nowhere, and he got right in the middle of them, and like he kind of grabbed me like and held me and said, if you all want to mess on someone your own size. And he went up to the guy that had the hat. He said, give me that damn hat. And he handed it to me, and by then I was crying and everything. And he's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. And I started walking away, and he's like, I'm going to walk with you. He told the guys, if they want to fight, we can fight. They can fight him. And of course they all ran off. And so he's walking with me, and he's like trying to like, I remember the conversation. He walked with me about maybe 3 long blocks. And he was just like trying to encourage me and everything. And when we got to like my street, I was getting ready to turn off. He says, are you going to be okay? And I was like, yeah. I said, thank you so much for like helping me, you know. And he said, no problem. He said, you sure you're going to be okay? You need me to walk you? I said, no, I'm fine now. And long story short, I know it's already been a long story, but I never forgot that guy, and I never saw him ever again. But that was the beautiful thing that happened to me. He was the beauty that happened to me in a moment where I was being bullied and attacked and feeling helpless. And he came out of nowhere like my Prince Charming. And when I think about it now, I think he was probably a gay guy. I don't know for sure, but I think he probably was a gay guy. He saw another one, kind of a kid like myself, and like was like, that probably happened. I mean, I'm like speculating all of this, but you know how you have that strong feeling and connection. But what I'm trying to say is that whether he was gay or straight or whatever he was, he had compassion in his heart to help me. And that was the beauty I needed in that moment. So.
And that's what we keep talking about. When you can help somebody, it may be small, but we don't know how big a moment it can be for them, because they could be in a really dark place. And if we can help bring them up a little bit out of that dark place, they may tell a story about us too.
Yay!
Oh, I love this. It is true.
You know, real quick, Raji, by you saying that, I'm not going to take long, but I just want to, you know, I guess give a shout out to people that when I was in college, they really helped me more than they could ever even have known. And it was I was very special in math, so it was my my remedial math teacher, Mrs. Toll, and also my the clergy man. He was a Catholic priest. He used to like to be called Padre Anthony, but I used to call him Father Padre. So it's like Father, you know, like in Italian. So I used to say that all the time. He loved me. I was like his little like student pet, and so did my teacher, and very understanding to what I was going through. I came out to both of them, and they were like my spine and my heartbeat for a while when I was going through a lot of shit in school. And I always could count on them for support and guidance, and always a motivation and just someone to talk to. So they were a huge support.
Moral to the story is that hang in there, and it does get better. And while you're going through it, if you look for the good things, there's tons of good things along the way if you choose to see them.
Look for the beautiful moments.
Yes, they're there if you look. If you don't look, you don't see them. But if you do look, you'll see them.
And never
This is a beautiful moment.
And never forget one thing. You can only move a mountain by going stone by stone. And enjoy moving the stones, because that's where you get to move the mountain.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Father Padre.
Bonnie, do that thing. Padre.
Domini Padres Filius Medias Sanctus.
Yeah, but, it's really interesting because,
I didn't know you were priest.
religion and transgender people. I mean, these days you hear very often that transgender, religious people don't like transgender. And I don't understand that, because
Only
my
some.
experience, I had such a lot of, I was grown up as a Catholic, but with a little bit of Jewish in it, because part of my family is Jewish. The Jewish community and transgender people can be so.
So what did you do? Wear a beanie to church?
Huh?
Would you wear a beanie to church? You were Jewish and Catholic. Never mind. I'm sorry.
I will
With that line.
tell the details afterwards. I don't not like all the, the padres, not because I was transgender or whatever, but because they were very often doing things which I, on my point of view, they were not correct. When I was in Jesuit school, most of the padres, which were Catholic priests, were not supposed to have families. They all had kids. They all are fathers of other kids. So, it just didn't work out very, very nicely, But when I was young, I always wanted to join the church, because for me, the church was the birth of gay people. Because in Portugal, when I was young, all the gay people, they went to become priests, because like that, they didn't have to marry, And so the Catholic Church and gays is very much together. So,
Well, let's get
You better
back
not
on
let the
topic and wrap this one up.
You better not let the Pope hear you say that. But anyway,
he knows that. Come on, he knows that.
he knows. You're right.
He knows that.
Right.
So, even this Pope has been very good with transgender people, because he's been supporting transgender people in Italy now with COVID. So, it's, don't forget, never forget one thing. In America is a free religion place. You can have whatever religion you want and so on. Freedom of religion. But, where I come from in Switzerland, for example, there's Catholics and Protestants. And Catholics and Protestants, they always have made fights with each other. That's why there's such a lot of people in America which are religious, because they were going away from the Europeans. Never forget, religion
Off subject.
has been has been a very big ground for wars.
Well, I don't understand why this whole thing with religion and spirituality and us trans people, so many of us trans people are so connected to spirit. We're really high evolved spirits that are really, I would say probably a good 80% of us are very spiritual, but I guess that's different from doctrine. Maybe that'll have to be our next show, because it's like we started another show.
Yes, exactly. That's why I said, Kristen, wrap it up.
But, maybe that's something we could talk about, but I'm really thankful to hear everybody's experiences. I'm, really bring some insight into what makes us tick, I guess, or
Sure.
what motivates us, or, it sheds more light, because I think, like Raji said, we are evolved, and I can see the beauty in the suffering, just like how Viktor Frankl says. There's beauty in the suffering, and that's what brings meaning to life. Because if we only had it great all the time, like a spoiled little brat that always got what it wanted, we're not gonna appreciate when we actually get something that touches our soul, the purpose that we're here for. We won't see it. It's an opportunity. It will pass by, and we won't experience it. So,
and we will not evolve. If you have everything nice coming to you, you never evolve.